Buddy, come on in. Yeah, it's time, and I haven't got music up, but we'll find something. Let's just say, the I'm Flying song. Come on in.
Well, my sink is shining on, I'm not whining, I'm flying. I'm just a baby stepping and I'm not obsessing, I'm flying. I've got my list of things to do, and I'm ready for action in my lace-up shoes. Well, I'm no martyr, I'm just working smarter, I'm flying. Well, these piles of clutter could be blessing others, so I'm flying. And while I'm flinging, you can hear me singing, I'm flying. I have my friends and family, but with routines in place, I still have time for me. I can get things done while I'm having fun, 'cause I'm flying.
Little saxophone never hurts anybody.
To sing the blues. Do you know the system? Have you heard the news? You can start today. I found a better way. I'm flying. Yes, I'm flying. Do, 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 do.
Okay, folks, it's pouring down rain outside. Yeah, it's just one of those afternoons. Robert built me a fire. He didn't go play chess with Charles. Please pray for Mr. Charles. And let's go to God's word, because we are in the Passion Translation of Psalms and Proverbs and the New Testament. And we're in chapter 30, Psalms number 30. The name of it is He Healed Me. King David's poetic praise to God, a song of the feast of dedication of the dwelling place. Here we go. Lord, I'm here in the room but somewhere in the house, stuck. Lord, I will exalt you and lift you high, for you have lifted me up on high. Over all my boastings, gloating, and enemies, you made me triumph. O Lord, my healing God, I cried out for a miracle and you healed me. You brought me back from the brink of death and from the depths below. Here I am. Now here I am, alive and well and fully restored. Oh, sing and make melody, you steadfast lovers of God. God thanks to him every time reflects on his holiness. Give thanks to him every time you reflect on his holiness. I've learned that his anger lasts for a moment, but his loving favor lasts a lifetime. We may weep through the night, but at daybreak it will turn into shouts of ecstatic joy. I remember boasting, I've got it made. Nothing can stop me now. I'm God's favored one, and He made me steady as a mountain. But then suddenly you hid your face from me. I was panic stricken and became depressed. Still, I cried out to you, Lord God. I shouted out for mercy, saying, what would you gain in my death? If I were to go down to the depths of darkness, will, you, will a grave sing your song? How would death's dust declare your faithfulness? So hear me now, Lord. Show me your famous mercy. Oh God, be my Savior. Rescue me. And then he broke through and transformed all my wailing into a whirling dance of ecstatic praise. He has torn the veil and lifted from he has torn the veil and lifted from me the sad heaviness of mourning. He wrapped me in the glory garments of gladness. How could I be silent when it's time to praise you? Now my heart sings out, bursting with joy, a bliss inside that keeps me singing. I can never thank you enough. Wow. I just love Psalms. It makes me happy to read the Psalms. Okay, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Father in heaven, thank you so much for this beautiful rain, for the warm fire that's glowing in my home, for a husband that takes good care of me. Thank you for all the many wonderful blessings you give to me and to my fly babies. Right now, Lord, thank you for your servant Conda, who is healing up at home out of the hospital. Thank you for her healing, for the blessing that she has given to many fly babies. Thank you, Lord, for helping her to get well. Please keep our homes safe, protect us from evil. It's on every corner, on every sidewalk, looking to harm and kill your servants, Lord. We are here to serve you and to lift you up and praise you. Not that you need us, but we certainly need you, Lord. All these things we ask in your name, in your Son's holy name, Jesus. Please forgive us of our sins and keep us strong to stand up to evil all around us. All these things we ask in Jesus' holy name. Amen. Okay, folks. Conda contacted me today. She is home and resting. I got to have some conversation with her. I'm just so glad to hear that she is feeling better. She's still not able to eat much, but she is just worn out from being in the hospital for 6 days. So keep and for all of Conda's fly babies, she hasn't vanished on you. I promise you, she is getting well. So please keep her in your prayers and all her fly babies who really need her, and just lift her up to the Lord. So this morning, I told you we were going to talk some turkey. Well, we talked a little turkey this morning, and I'm going to pull out my holiday control journal. I love my holiday control journal. It's really the thing about the holidays is my favorite time is Thanksgiving. So I just have a whole section just on Thanksgiving recipes. And I also have a little thing on the back side. It's the things left to do. And I have some tiles numbered 1 through 12. You could do little pieces of paper, but Robert made me tiles. Makes me happy. And with those tiles, I am able to just randomly pick something to cook. You can do this with your menu. As long as you have everything in the house, it's you're good to go. So, have you made your Thanksgiving menu yet? Now, here's what goes on mine. I like I like country ham, and I usually have some country ham because it reminds me of my grandmothers. They used to cook. They used to um, have a pig, and she would take a ham and they would cure these hams, and she would have one from the year before that had been cured. So here's my recipe. Here's my menu and the different bowls I would need. A turkey, going to cook a turkey and a ham, green beans, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, cranberry salad, rolls, dressing, broccoli salad, and angeled eggs. And then for dessert, there's pumpkin pie, pecan pie, applesauce cake, or an apple pie, spice cake, or a chocolate cake. So I get to pick from those. I usually don't cook them all, but we like to have a little sliver of this and a little sliver of that, and it makes us all happy. And lots of whipped cream. Don't forget the whipped cream. That has been done before. So, and don't forget the rolls. That's a family tradition at our house, is we always forget the rolls. So that's a great menu. Now, sometimes I add corn to my menu, and I add. Sometimes I have cooked a squash casserole, and having a bumper crop of squash from the neighbor, I have a lot of squash put away that I could make a squash casserole this year, which would make me very happy. But what do I need to make? What do you need to make green beans? Well, for my green beans, I need bacon. I need bacon, and I like to cook my green beans in a cup of wine, white wine. Now, all the alcohol gets burned out of it, but I just have a box wine that I use for cooking. So think about everything you need. You need a turkey and you need ham if you're going to have ham. So green beans, there's a certain kind of green beans I like. They are the French cut green beans from the frozen food section. So I really like those green. I have done it with canned green beans when I've canned my own green beans, because there's nothing better than your own home canned green beans. But when I make my green beans, I like to say I scorch one green bean. you, you just cook it dry till it's down to one scorched green bean, but it's not really scorched. But I cut my bacon up into little pieces, stir it around, add my green beans to it, a cup of wine, maybe a cup of water, and put the lid on it. And then I cook down all the moisture out of it. Takes me a couple, 3 hours. And there's a recipe on YouTube. And if somebody can find that now Justin's not coming for Thanksgiving, but my brother and sister-in-law may. But we haven't talked about that yet. But now's the time to get your guest list planned up. So that's the first thing. You got to know how many people are coming to your Thanksgiving dinner. Like one lady this morning in her question, she says 22 people. She's already done her guest list. So now is the time to invite those people to your Thanksgiving feast. And it is a Thanksgiving feast because we are thankful for everything that God gives us. So that's how I cook my green beans. And I cook them all in one day. And I usually use 4 packs of these green beans. I have cooked as many as 6 packs of these green beans. I have one big pot. And, dividing your cooking out over days makes it so much easier for you. And then I can take those green beans and freeze them and label them for Thanksgiving dinner 2021. And then all I got to do is remember, I can put a check mark by them on my list that they're already cooked. Now, mashed potatoes. I like to do one thing at a time. Now, I was watching some YouTube videos a while ago, and this guy was talking about he had 21 items on his Thanksgiving table, his buffet table, to feed his friends and family. And he said, that's one of the largest things. He said, but I didn't have it was short notice. He said, so something must have happened, and the Thanksgiving dinner ended up at his house. And he really pushed himself on this. And I don't want you to be pushed. I want you to get the things done, put it in the refrigerator, in the freezer, in your they're handy. And or maybe just start a basket in your big freezer that's your Thanksgiving dinner. You know, if you've got the collapsible carry-all, which we still have a few of them in place, and I can't reach it. But if you've got the collapsible carry-all, you can set that in your freezer, and everything you make for Thanksgiving, you put in that, and then you just have to take the basket upstairs or to your kitchen when it comes time to get everything thawed and heated up for Thanksgiving dinner. It's all about pulling it all together, but you've already cooked everything. This is good. So, next is mashed potatoes, cooking mashed potatoes. I like my mashed potatoes to be made from Idaho potatoes, white potatoes. White potatoes make a much fluffier mashed potato, y'all. And what I do is I take that same pot I've cooked my green beans in, because that pot is big enough. It's my biggest pot, and usually I'm making a lot of food because I share. I send food home with Robin, and she leaves food with us. Uh, but I wash the mashed potatoes. I got a video on it. Somebody put the link in for the uh, the page on YouTube that is all our holiday, and I'll put it in the description when I get through. I'll add it down there. And if you're not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up, and then also ring the bell so you get notifications. So make the mashed potatoes. I cook them one day. Cook them, and I wash the peelings, get them all ready to go, and then I put them in a pot and boil them. Takes about an hour to an hour and a half, according to the size of potato that it is. And you want all like sized potatoes. You don't want a big one and a little one. You want like sized potatoes. And this just makes for an efficient way to cook all these potatoes at one time. And then you take those potatoes that are, once they're done, you pour them into your sink and cover them with cold water, and the peelings just come right off. And I have a little device called a ricer, and I put one mashed potato, one whole potato that's got I like to take the peeling off. I know the ricer, you can cut them in half and you can take the peelings off that way, but I like to peel my potatoes after they're cooked. And then put them through the ricer, and they make just little bitty pieces of potato. And you don't want to put them under the mixer for too long at all. And I like to, beforehand, I take a stick of butter, and I use Carrie's Gold. I love my Carrie's Gold. A tub of sour cream, about a half a cup of real cream, and I melt the butter and mix the sour cream and the real cream all together in the mixer and put it in the refrigerator. I do that ahead of time so that all I have to do is add this to my potato mixture. And you can add salt and pepper. You can add garlic to it if you want to, if you want garlic mashed potatoes. Well, however you want to do it. You know how to make mashed potatoes. We all do. But you can look at my recipe, and it just makes it so easy that you're not mashing potatoes 5 minutes before people come into the house. And then you can take those mashed potatoes And you can put them in a Ziploc bag. And I have a souffle pan that I put my mashed potatoes in. And I just when it comes time, I'm just going to thaw them up and put them in that container. Now you can freeze it in that container, but you don't put frozen stuff in a ceramic casserole dish into the oven already heated up. Ask me how I know. I have a beautiful piece of pottery that I broke that way because I put it cold into a hot oven and it pinged it. And I heard it when it popped, and I had Robert glue it back together, and I just put my potatoes in it. It just looks pretty on the counter. But you got to look at my video on my making my potatoes. Yeah, they got it in there. The playlist is there. Cooking with the Fly Lady. Yeah. Then you got to start your dressing ahead of time. And I call it dressing. I don't call it stuffing. I like dressing. And Leanne taught me how to make poached sausage, which you take. I like Jimmy Dean sausage, but now that I've been doing Moink Box, they have some really good sausage. So you take a pound of sausage, maybe 2 pounds if you like a lot of sausage in your in, in your dressing, and you pre-cook it, and then you can add the onions to it, the celery. You got to have celery. Is it safe to eat a turkey that has been kept in the freezer for a year? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I use in 2020 we didn't have Thanksgiving at our house, and so I had a turkey left over from last year, and yeah, you can eat a turkey, and you just got to thaw it up, and you need to get this on your calendar when you're going to cook it. If you're going to cook it on Wednesday before Thanksgiving, you need to take it out of the freezer on Saturday. Put it in a garbage bag, put it in a roasting pan in your refrigerator. And it needs to thaw for 4 days. Could be 5 days if you have a big turkey. Don't let it set out on the counter. Don't thaw it up in ice water in the sink. Nope, 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 nope. Now that's more dangerous than taking a turkey that's been in your freezer for a year. Don't do that. And you got to put it in a garbage bag and with the tie at the top, and put it in one of those aluminum roasting pans and slide it into your refrigerator. Now your refrigerator's got to be cleaned out. So when you clean out your refrigerator, yesterday was Wednesday. You need to get that refrigerator cleaned out where you got some space to put a turkey in there to thaw that sucker out. So I got sidetracked. Yeah. So you make up your mashed potatoes with all the sour cream and butter, all the good stuff in it, and you can freeze them. You can freeze them. I have frozen them in the casserole dish that I'm going to cook them in, but you got to completely thaw that up. And I was going to tell you, the turkey, I don't know why the light is flashing back and forth and back and forth. It's driving me nuts. Push the screen away from me a little more. But if you don't put it in this pan, you're going to wake up on Thanksgiving morning, if you're going to cook your turkey on Thanksgiving, and you're going to find your crisper drawer is full of turkey juice. Can you tell I don't like poultry juice? Mm. Anyway, that happened to me one Thanksgiving morning. I didn't have carrots. I had to send Robert to the store for fresh carrots because they had all got soaked in turkey juice. So don't do that to yourself. Think ahead. Think ahead. And Learn from my mistakes, please. So that's the mashed potatoes. I like to sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese or 3 cheese pizza stuff, 3 cheese mixed for pizzas on top to make it look pretty. And then put it in the oven and bake it. Or you can heat them up in the microwave. I don't care. But I don't heat much stuff up in the microwave. I have put them in a crock pot, but they got to be on real low or you're going to scorch the sides. But I like to cook it until it starts to rise a little bit because you've mixed it. Don't mix it too long, just enough to get the ingredients in it. Because the more you mix potatoes with you use a mixer, especially a KitchenAid, you're going to mix the starch out of them. So you don't want to do that. If you're going to eat mashed potatoes, you want the starch in there. And then freeze them and then take them out of your freezer like a couple of days before you're going to cook them on Thanksgiving or heat them up. That's all you're really doing is heating things up. I'm giving you a new way to cook Thanksgiving dinner without being stressed out. And it works. It really does work. And I filmed it all for you. I made videos for it. And they're not long videos, y'all. I don't like long cooking videos. I like these ones that get speeded up. I don't know that I've made the cranberry salad, but it's relatively easy. It's an orange. In fact, I have Ella's recipe in here somewhere. She wrote it out. Yeah. Ella's cranberry salad. You take 2 bags of fresh cranberries, 2 navel oranges. You can grate them or put them in your blender. 2 apples. I like a tartar apple for this. A can of crushed pineapple. 2 packages of cranberry jello. Now, cranberry jello is hard to find, but you can substitute with cherry jello or something else, and just put 2 packages of cranberry jello, 1 package of Knox gelatin, and cold water. And you mix all this stuff up. You have to do the jello per its instructions and then add some cold water to it. You dissolve it in hot water and then add a cup of cold water and then mix all this stuff in. Put it in your Tupperware dish or whatever you're making. Put it in the refrigerator and get it cold. Now, I wouldn't freeze this. I would do this the week of. But that's Ella's cranberry salad. She always made a great cranberry salad. Rolls. Now, there's some great roll recipes on there. Whippoorwill Hollow has some amazing cafeteria roll recipes that we grew up with. Cafeteria rolls were the best. And if I'm in a mood to make rolls, I can make up a bunch of them and I pre-cook them. I get them just about ready to go. I get a bunch of the pans that you would put a 13x9 cake in. I melt some butter in them, put the rolls in, let them rise, and then cook them. Cook them. And then I bag them up and put them in the freezer. And then you've always got rolls. And it's not hard. The recipe is not hard. If it was, I wouldn't do it. Now, dressing. Dressing has cornbread in it and sausage. I was getting mixed up. Cornbread and sausage. And a couple of rolls, a couple of biscuits, sausage. I like a lot of celery, onions, and don't forget the sage. Make sure you've got some sage. One year I didn't have any sage. Yeah, I think the roll recipe is on. I think I made rolls on that playlist, and also Miss Lori at Whippoorwill Hollow has a recipe for that's that's to die for rolls, cafeteria rolls. So check it out. Whippoorwill Hollow. She's a good old country cook. Now, the dressing, you got to crumble up all your cornbread. And so I have this big mixing bowl that I make my pan of cornbread, and I got a recipe for making cornbread on the channel. And you got your bag of stuff to go in it. Well, you can freeze the pre-cooked sausage and the onions and celery, all that stuff. You can cook that, bag it up, and put it in your refrigerator or your freezer, and then get it out and thaw it up and put it with your dressing. Well, to cook your dressing, you need chicken broth. So if you got chicken broth, get it on your grocery list. Get sage and chicken broth on your grocery list right now. Keep a grocery list. So keep a grocery list of the stuff you need. I've got a handwritten one right here of the stuff you need to make your Thanksgiving dinner. And I like to have pie crust on hand. So get some Pillsbury pie crust. Here's my master list. And yeah, this is. I like to have plenty of Ziploc bags on hand. Make sure you got Ziploc bags and you got our Tupperware containers and aluminum pans and a roasting pan if you need a roasting pan. But I like to use the roasting pan that came with my stove. And this is just a great way. Now, if you want to cheat with the rolls, you can get some frozen roll dough. But I don't wait till the last minute to do those. I do those ahead of time too, so that they're ready to go. All I got to do is heat them up. Okay, next thing, sweet potatoes. Last year, I cooked sweet potatoes cut up with onions. This is Leanne's recipe. It was to die for. Robert liked it a whole lot better than the mashed sweet potatoes, which kind of had the same texture as the mashed potatoes. And he just really liked the savory side of the sweet potatoes. So back to the dressing. You got to get everything dried out. Cornbread dried out, all this stuff, crumble it up. I keep it in my oven for a couple of days, just letting it, and you can put your oven on about 100 degrees and let it get dried out. And then you have this great dressing. It's mixed up with, don't put too much bread in it. Cornbread and a couple of biscuits or a couple of rolls or a couple slices of bread even. And then it doesn't take long to mix it up. Now, I like to cook mine ahead of time, and I just stick it in the freezer. And then I get it out and then heat it up. Broccoli salad. I was talking about that this morning. I make it ahead of time. I get my broccoli cut up just the way I want it and bag it up. I make my sauce to go on it and bag that up. And I get my little package of all the sunflower seeds and raisins. I'll use golden raisins in my cranberry salad. I bag all those things up, and then all I do is empty the bags out, stir it up, and put it in a beautiful serving dish. I have this glass one that is just my favorite thing. And the morning of Thanksgiving, I got everything bagged up in the freezer, ready to go in their serving dishes or in their casserole dishes to go into the oven and cook. And we usually eat about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, everything's ready to go into the oven to just gently warm up at 200 degrees, 250. Slow and steady. And then all I got to do is put together my eggs, because earlier in the week I have cooked my eggs in my oven. Don't wait till the day of to make your eggs because something will happen. Something will happen and they'll be ruined, especially if you've never done the angel eggs, cooking them in the oven. You need to practice that. You need to practice that because it's a specific recipe. It's on my website. I've got a video about it. And it's fun to do when you're going to make a lot of angeled eggs. Now you can make your pumpkin pies early. We don't have a pumpkin yet this year, but the next time we go out, I think I'm going to get Robert to get us a pumpkin, and we can render out our own pumpkin because evidently pumpkins got expensive at the grocery store. But hey, I have made pumpkin pie with sweet potatoes. It's a sweet potato pie, but it looks like a pumpkin pie and it tastes like a pumpkin pie. So there. Pecan pie. I keep pecans in stock all the time. That recipe is on our playlist, and the best pecan pie is made with roasted pecans, y'all. I can't stand gummy pecans in a pie. But if they're roasted ahead of time, and we have a great recipe for roasting pecans, I use a pizza pan and I put a layer in an old pizza pan. It's a big pizza pan. And the oven is set at the recipes in there. I'm not going to tell you what the temperature is, but it's 300 degrees or 325. Don't hold me to this, but you put them in a cold oven at that temperature, whatever it says on. I'll show you how to do it, and they're perfect. And I don't say that word very often. The pecans are perfect. Robert's always playing with the recipe, but the pecans are perfect, and it takes an hour, and you cook it for 20 minutes at this temperature. Then you stir them, you put them back in the oven for another 20 minutes, and you take them out and you stir them, and then you put them back in the oven. And then when the timer goes off after 20 minutes, it takes an hour, 20 minutes, and they're done. And they make the most beautiful. Somebody said, Carla says she hates gummy pecans almost as much as she hates boiled peanuts. I'm with you, girl. I am with you. Anyway, so there you have it. And then if I'm going to bake a cake, I can bake the cake ahead of time, especially an applesauce cake, something that goes in a bundt pan that can just come out. Or you can, if you're going to do a layer cake, you bake the 3 layers and you can freeze them. And they actually ice better when they're frozen. So you see, you got to get your menus made out. If you're going to cook corn, I like to cook the corn that's in the freezer section that looks like tubes of sausage. I think McGuire makes it, but a bunch of people make it. And I think I show you how to do that too. I use 2 yellow and 1 white, and it does a 13x9 glass casserole dish, or I think I have a corning dish, and I put a stick of butter in there. And the hardest thing about that recipe is peeling it frozen out of the tubes. Now, you can put them in a pan and just set them out and let them thaw enough that you can cut them in half and just dump them out. It's much easier because when it's frozen, you can cut yourself badly. So my squash casserole, that recipe's not anywhere, but I've told you how to make that this summer, but it's real easy. I take my squash, I put some onions in it, I steam it, and I'm using frozen squash, and some of it has onions in it, so I'll probably use the ones that has onions in it. and I put a can of cream of chicken soup in it. I grate up a carrot for just a touch of color and add a tub of sour cream. Stir it all up. Take Pepperidge Farm herb stuffing mix, put a layer of squash down, put a layer of the herb stuffing mix, another layer of squash, another layer of the stuffing mix. I usually do 3 layers and then top it off with the stuffing mix. It's ready to go. It's just ready to go. So you can freeze that too, and or you can get it ready, almost ready to go. All the squash and stuff cooked up. Then all you got to do, you put it in the freezer, and then you can thaw it up and do your layers and get it in the oven. It's really good. But sitting here thinking about it today, doesn't it make you hungry? Ready to go? It's just ready to go. Some people like to put cheese in their squash casserole. I like the sour cream and the can of soup, which makes me happy. And that was a recipe from Miss Emily. She was in my woman's group when I was a young mother, and she had this recipe, and I loved it. In fact, she passed away last year, and I told her son I still make her squash casserole. But it's easy if you pace yourself, not get in a hurry, and you plan things out. Like put it on your counter when you're going to take your turkey out of the freezer to thaw up in your refrigerator. Have everything on hand to do that with. When you're going to bake your cakes, I like to do it the week before Thanksgiving, not the week of, because I'm doing other things. So plan what you're going to cook on what day. And you can start 2 weeks out and have plenty of time. Now, if you're going to cook 21 things, you might want to start 3 weeks out. But make an appointment for your oven and for your kitchen and clean as you go. Because if you don't, you're going to make a bigger mess for yourself. Your kitchen's not going to be sanitary. So you got to have hot, soapy water. Hot, soapy water. And that hot, soapy water, and I keep a purple rag in my kitchen, and I'm wiping down my counters, and if I'm going to mess with the turkey, that's the only thing I'm going to mess with that day. I'm telling you, that's the only thing I'm going to mess with, because I want the turkey to not contaminate anything else. And you can put wax paper out. You can put saran wrap out on your counters. You can do lots of things. You can sterilize your sink after you've washed the bird. But if you can't get the giblets out of the turkey neck and the cavity, then it's not thawed. And we have lots of turkey she shouldn'ts on our website. And it's fun. It's fun to read them. But you can make your pies ahead of time. You can make your cakes ahead of time. You can do everything ahead of time. And then you're the hostess with the mostest, sitting there looking nice and cute in your little lace-up shoes and your table set. It's beautiful. It all comes together because you planned. We usually get the coffee. We make a pot of coffee because we like to sit around the table and talk afterwards. Make sure you have candles for your table, because that's our timer. When we have Thanksgiving dinner, when the candles burn down to nothing, just about nothing, we know it's time to get up and wash dishes. And I don't have a dishwasher this year, so I'm going to be washing dishes. I always put everything but my silver knives in my dishwasher, but I'm going to be washing all the dishes. But that's okay. Robert and I usually get it done before we go to bed, so we don't have to get up to it in the morning. I have plenty of Ziploc bags to be able to put everything away, because containers take up a lot of space, but Ziploc bags can be piled on top of each other. And you have plenty of Ziploc bags to give things away to people. So start planning right now. In fact, here are my cards for my dishes. So I have a relish tray that I fix up. I have a gravy boat, but I'm cooking my turkey the day before, and then cook the carcass to make turkey broth. And from that, I take the drippings from the bottom of my roasting pan to mix with the turkey broth and make gravy. And I do that the day before, and it goes into the refrigerator. So it just has to be heated up because you don't want lumps in your gravy. So you need time to play with it. I have a bowl for my green beans. I have a tray that was my mama's for our eggs. It's white milk glass with a little gold trim around it. Uh, let's see, what else do I have here? I've got some extra cards, dressing, rolls. This has helped me remember it. Get everything out of the freezer. Sweet potatoes, turkey. I have a turkey platter that was Robert's aunt, and we get that out. Cranberry salad. That usually stays in the pan it's brought in because I don't usually make that. But I have a beautiful dish for my broccoli salad. Mashed potatoes are in a souffle, straight-sided thing, and they rise up and they look beautiful. And then I have a corn bowl. And since it's Granny's, I usually use the bowl that was her mother's. So it's full of traditions. Food is all about traditions and the things we like to like for our family. Your family, there's certain things they like. And if you don't know what those things are, you're just going to somebody's going to feel left out. So ask your family what their favorite dishes are at Thanksgiving and get those on the list, y'all. I can't reach that far right now. So don't put off planning for Thanksgiving. That's why I did this show today. Let's talk turkey. Well, let's talk Thanksgiving because you deserve to enjoy Thanksgiving dinner just like anybody else. Just like everybody else. You don't need to be worn out eating your Thanksgiving dinner. But when you do it my way, you're going to enjoy it. You are really going to have, you're going to really enjoy it. Somebody turns leftovers into turkey pot pie. How cool is that? I love it. So get some get some pie crust in the house. I love the Pillsbury pie crust that you just let get room temperature and then you can make it. I think I even showed you how to do that. And I've showed you everything. It's all in that playlist. And they're not long videos. They're just short little videos that I put together. And I did a voiceover on them, telling you all about it. So I keep my holiday stuff in my control journal. Get your calendar out and start writing down what you're going to cook. Say maybe this week you want to make your green beans and your mashed potatoes. When you go to the grocery this week, make sure you get your green beans and 5 pounds or 10 pounds of Idaho potatoes. Cream cheese, or you can use cream cheese in them. Sour cream, you can do all of that. If you don't have sour cream, I use cream cheese. So get it on your calendar when you're going to do it. So take some time today to play with those Thanksgiving recipes. Get some of the ingredients on your grocery list. I think I just about have everything that we need to cook Thanksgiving dinner right now in the freezer and ready to go. We've even got a turkey. Yeah, I'm hungry too. I smack my lips. Anyway, folks, y'all be good, kind, and sweet. Keep Conda in your prayers and keep her fly babies in your prayers. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get your kitchen dirty, but it doesn't have to stay dirty long if you clean as you go. So put some dish towels out on the countertop. Get your drying rack out. If you don't have a drying rack, just lay out a dish towel. And before you know it, just wash things up and you're going to be reusing it occasionally. You can do it. You really can. So, folks, I love you all. Be good, kind, and sweet. Be good to yourself, kind to others, and allow the sweetness that is in your heart for the Lord. Show the world that you're a child of God. Because one day you're going to have to tell your testimony and you will be bringing people to Christ. Yeah. We have to pray for those people that are against us. We have to pray for our enemies. Clean as you go. And if you have a small kitchen, it's even more important. But let's get our kitchens good and clean right now before we start cooking. Let's get things straightened up. That's what I've been doing. I'm getting our living room straight, and I've ordered this tall shelving unit that was real easy to put together. It just popped in place. And I've got all that done, and we're good to go. Just now is a fun time to get in there and start cooking. I love you all. I will see you tomorrow. It's the weekend. So we'll do a little bit of crisis cleaning to get ready. And I'll be back on here at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. See you later.